Hello, guys. I am here with Dr. Jason Levy, sports chiropractic physician for the New York Jets and Atlantic Sports Health. Dr. Levy, thanks for joining us again here today. It's been quite a great experience, getting to know you over the years and spending time and seeing all the success you've had with your athletes at all levels. And I know you have an abundance of professional athletes you work with, along with younger athletes. What we want to talk about today a little bit is the hip anatomy and how important it is, because everyone is sitting so much nowadays, right? With the advent of technology and cell phones, and we're in this shortened position, so the hips are shortened all the time, and those muscles, specifically that psoas, right? That hip flexor muscle becomes short, and it's tightens up and in constant kind of contraction, which makes the glutes, your large muscle, power muscles, kind of less active. Talk us through that and what you do to get the psoas to relax and fire the glutes again, because there's so many implications with sitting so long and the glutes becoming less active and the hip flexors becoming more active. So many injury risks and implications of this situation taking place.
Yeah, great point. It's amazing, sitting. They talk about sitting is the new smoking, right?
Yes.
And I think because it's clear, as you're mentioning, your psoas, your hip flexors get very tight, our hamstrings get tight, our glutes get weak, they turn off, and of course, what's going to happen from that? The next link up that chain is your lower back, and obviously lower back pain, if you read all the research, is an epidemic. I believe they say that 80% of adult Americans will have low back pain sometime in their life. And I believe it comes back up to 90% of the time once you've had it once. So, looking at the hip area as a whole, as we were describing, I think is huge. Doing things in our office, of course, we're doing a lot of hands-on approaches to helping to release psoas, hamstrings, glutes, things of that nature. But at home, people can perform foam rolling exercises, using a lacrosse ball, things of that nature to help get in there to loosen it up.
And I think just standing up every 15, 20 minutes if you're at a desk and just stretching. I mean, like a cat, or a dog, they wake up in the morning, they stretch the myofascia, they loosen up. And like you said, sitting is the new smoking now. It's really not a good thing to be doing for long periods of time. So when you're sitting so long, it deactivates the glutes, where your lower back is going to fire, and actually can lead to hamstring injury. A lot of hamstring injuries are caused not because of a weak or tight hamstring. It's caused from a tight hip flexor. It's caused from a glute not firing, where the hamstring has to work overtime. So a lot of information just by stretching and getting that hip flexor to relax, and like you said, foam rolling or doing some hip flexor stretches could play a huge difference from a general population standpoint. If you're just a average person that doesn't necessarily play a competitive sport, as well as an athlete that is competitive, sitting for long periods of time can definitely be a challenge. Anything else you'd like to add in terms of this subject matter of hip anatomy and just tight hip flexors?
Well, in general, just something that we had been speaking about off camera was just talking about stretching versus some sort of foam rolling. And we talked about the analogy of having a rope with a knot in the middle of the rope. Well, if you just pull on either end of the rope to stretch it, it's really not going to do anything to the knot in the middle of the rope. So, you need to apply some sort of pressure, some sort of tension to, kind of break up that knot. And that's where our foam rolling is beneficial for somebody, or a lacrosse ball, things of that nature.
Unbelievable, great analogy. That's why you make the big bucks. Really good stuff. I mean, that rope with a knot, you can stretch that all day long, but that knot's not going to change. Stretching isn't going to help.
Right.
You got to get that manual pressure, and that's the fascia, that's the myofascia, that's the chemical release. You got to break that up. So more stretching actually could do more harm than good. Right? Because if you're not addressing that knot, you're really creating more flexibility in areas that we might not want to have more flexibility, which could limit performance. And that's, again, so important to know and take away. So find those knots, get that myofascial release going, and take your game to the next level.